So in this video what we're actually going to look at is animating the canopy. Now as it goes, the canopy is actually reasonably nice. I've probably made a couple of changes from what I think Boris had sent me, but largely it's reasonably well set up, which makes things easier. So you've got a hinge in the right place, as you can see here. The hinge is at the back of the canopy. There's actually a piston locator that he put in here that we could have used to drive this. There are disadvantages to doing that though, and complexity in doing that, so I'm not going to do it that way. there are ways I could have done that, but I think we'll make this a much simpler and more manual method for doing it. So first thing first is we're going to need to work out actually how, I'll show how canopies are animated, and there's actually something called Canopy Animator, which is a script that Baha provides in the first place, and it actually links into various things and has a nice easy way to deal with everything. So based upon that, that makes it a bit easier to utilise. So you can see in here what we've actually got is a little component that links first to the canopy transform itself, the main canopy transform. Then we've got the flight information that comes from the F-15 base, and it utilises that to determine whether it's going to break off or what status the actual vehicle's in. It then has the animation animator. It then tells you what the animation is within that, so you could have like a bunch of animations in there and then just point it on a specific one. And then the other things are how long does it take to do the animation, what's the break audio source, etc. So all those are fine as it goes. Now, what we're now going to do here, and these are a couple of things we'll need to look at later, but that's all fine as well. We don't really need to worry about any of this. So within the canopy animator, currently what we've got is it currently points at the old canopy down here. So this one here. So this was the Mirage canopy, and we'll get rid of these later. Those are all the old meshes and stuff that we're going to get rid of once we've sorted things out. So that points to that there. So let's step backwards. Go to the canopy animator. First thing I'm going to do is to replace all these. So what I'm going to do is lock that into the inspector so that doesn't disappear when we click on it. And I'm going to click on the canopy here, and we're going to use that canopy transform there as a transform. Okay, so you just drag it across from canopy in there, your canopy, high level part into the canopy there. We don't need to replace the flying info because that's already working. The next person here is the canopy animator. So it points currently at an animator that's attached to the canopy here. And if we look in the second inspector window here, you can see it actually has an animator assigned to the canopy. So we're going to need to replace that. So the first things first is we go back to the scene, click on our canopy, and under this we're going to add our own animator. Okay, so now we have our own animator on there. There's nothing assigned to it and nothing working with it yet, but we've at least got it within there. Okay, and it wants to be at this high level because we want anything that's underneath this to be able to be animated if we really want it to. There's actually only a couple of things we will want to animate as it goes, but we want it to be at this level, so things like this part here that we'll want to animate. Okay, so that's fine. Now if we go back to the canopy, oh, do you know what, I've done the wrong thing here, I apologise. We go to the explainer and add the canopy animator into here, onto the actual canopy, not onto the canopy animator, so I apologise about that. So the animator wants to go there, and that's fine. Now what we'll do is that one is we'll replace that with that one there. Okay, so replace that with that one. So just to go back to this, canopy animator there. Now we're going to do here, I'll just skip back initially because I want to see what the original Mirage Canopy Animator was. So that's here, so if we click on that, it shows it here, Mirage Canopy Animator. What I'm going to do is actually I'm going to duplicate that. So to duplicate things that are in here, you click on it, you do Control D, it will duplicate it. Now we'll give it the same name or similar name. So you can see here at the bottom, Mirage Canopy Animator _1, 2. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to 15S, so Canopy Animator. Okay. So it's still currently pointing at that Canopy Animator there. So what we'll need to do is go to our new canopy. Sometimes it's easy to find it once you're actually in the view here. Go to Canopy In, and you can see that we have the new animator here. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag our new F15S or Canopy Animator onto there. And then we'll drag the animator from there onto the animator in the Canopy Animator. So now, in theory, it's pointing at the correct place. Everything should be changed over to the new version. However, what we haven't done is do any changes to the F15 Canopy Animator. So first off, we're going to double click on this, and you can see in here it really only has a couple of things, and the Canopy one is the one that we're interested in here, because that's the bit that actually makes a change. Now I'm going to unlock this so you can see what it does. So in the canopy there is a motion animation that we didn't want to change, and this is the bit that actually contains the actual animation. So if we can click on that, you can see it's highlighted here in yellow. Click on it again. It's highlighted here in yellow when you do that. So what I'm going to do is to do the same as I did before. I'm going to click on that and click Control D to duplicate it. Okay. There's actually a couple already in here. So what I'm going to do is that one I just created there, I'm going to change the name of that to F15S, so Canopy Animations, _1. Okay. So now we go to here, that's okay, and what we're going to do, so this is the F15S Canopy Animations, you can see here, but it's still pointing at on a Canopy Animations. So if we click on that, and then select our new one that we just created, F15S Canopy Animations. So now we swapped over, we're not touching the old one at all, we're not utilising the old one at all, this is all brand new, all linked up correctly. So when we now click on this in here, we now have that, and if we double click on it, you can see it's actually linked to the wrong thing as it goes. So what we now need to do is we need to remove that because it's no longer relevant. Now what it says is Canopy in rotation. Okay, so it's saying by affecting this you can affect what actually happens. So in the animation you can see it's actually wrong because what it's doing is rotation along its y-axis, because that had copied over from the last version. Yeah, you can see it rotates in the wrong place. So what we're going to have to do is going to go into here, go to the end, click on that one and change that back to 0 so it doesn't change that. And obviously what we want to do is change it along its x-axis. So we might put in, say, minus 30. You can be a bit utilising this as well. So say minus, I think about minus 20 is probably about right actually. So you can see I was in the keyframe at the end here, and I changed it. This bit here is in the original place, then there, When I click on it, it's in blue. I can change each of these elements. It's in blue, that's one you're changing, so I can change it however I want. Now I think that's probably about right actually, about 24 degrees, something like that looks about right. Okay, so the other thing that's obvious now is that actually this pole that is, it would be the driving function in there, is actually now out of place, and that might actually tell us how high it should be in a minute once we do a little bit of work on that. Is we're going to look at how we put in place the piston that lifts up the canopy. I wasn't going to do this actually, but I'm going to do it this way. This is a much simpler way of doing it. We won't drive it with that, but we'll make it look like it does. So what we're going to do in here is going to add to the canopy a telescope piston, which is a standard thing. We're going to use an up reference there, put our piston locators in, which are the 2 piston points. So drag those into the telescope piston. Now what I'll do is I will probably do a separate piece about pistons. Pistons are their own discussion, to be honest. So if we go to the animator, because you need a lot of setting up to make it work right. And as it pulls up, you can see that the piston now comes up correctly because it's attached to the piston below. So that's pretty simple in the sense of how it works. You add a telescope piston in, add the 2 elements to it, and then it just works as you pull it up. There's a lot more to it than that, and I think pistons have a whole discussion topic of their own about how to make them work correctly and what you need to do to set them up. So I think we'll leave that. But fundamentally, you now have a working piston inside the cockpit. So we'll export this off by doing pushing that into the prefab, do an asset bundle, extract or build from in here, and then we'll put it into game and see whether it works. Okie dokie, should build out. It's taking a while today. Beep deep dee. Okie doke. There we go. Should finish off in a second. 3, 2, 1. Beep. It'll take its time actually. Oh no, quite why it's taking its time with this one. So okay, so we've done that. All we'll then need to do is copy that into the mods folder like we've done before. So take it out of the mod and put it into the mod folder. So we come in to play, run it. I'll take obviously 25 seconds or so. There we go. Loading in. Okay, start game. Load up the mod. Go through. Start it on the ground so it's easy to utilise the canopy. Otherwise it'll rip off. We'll do it from fly mode. Okay. There we go. So we start with the canopy up, as you can see. And if we now utilise the Mirage's old lever, comes down, great, and it'll go back up again. There we go, perfect. So there we go, a working canopy animation now that's linked to a lever.
What we now need to do in the next video is actually show you how to create a new lever and how to utilize that to tie it to the canopy so that we're using the correct lever that's built into the model. So we'll leave it at that and we'll come back to the next video.